I don't know the number. I wish I did, but for whatever number artist spotlight, that's the one we're on. We have Caroline with us today.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Caroline, everyone from the community. I'm still getting sort of set up. Let me pull up another screen and we'll be ready to get going. I love to actually hear what people say during these. So let me get that set up. All right, now I can see the banter. Okay, yeah, what I like to do sometimes is I'll do my... Oh, this one's a short reading too, so I don't... Oh, wait, never mind, hold on. Where's your... Okay, here we go. I started this little thing where I'll read about you directly from the site to give people a primer on the spotlight. So here we go. Oh, no, make sure... Is it Caroline D or...
Yes.
Okay, Caroline D is a technical artist, digital painter, and cartoonist. She enjoys experimenting with different styles and tools to bring her ideas and stories to life. Whew! Welcome, Caroline. Welcome to Spotlight. Welcome to the show. Super happy to have you on this wonderful Friday. I guess without further ado, I would love to jump into it. It looks like you prepared a slide deck. If you want to get going, the show is yours.
Sure. I guess I can start by introducing myself, what I do. I wrote for the description in the Terra Virtua site. I'm a technical artist. I actually work in game development, and so that's actually my full-time job. And I got into crypto art sometime last year, I think around July. It was kind of I was just testing it out. My friend got me into NFTs and basically taught me the basics. And then at that time, I was kind of not really painting that much. I didn't really do that much personal art. So and most of my stuff, in game dev, you can't really show your work, right? Until maybe months later, or whenever the game comes out. So I wasn't really posting much. And then when I got into crypto art, it kind of inspired me to get painting again. So it was kind of my way into finding, I guess, the joy in painting again.
So in game development, you're not painting. So this is totally outside of your normal day-to-day routine?
Not entirely. So I do a whole bunch of stuff in game dev, and some of it is production work. So I get to paint some assets. But since I'm the technical lead now in the company, I'm mostly working with Unity. So I prepare production pipelines for our team. I make sure everything works, all the assets are working, and working in game essentially. Yeah. So it's a lot of Unity work.
Do you put...
Sorry, what?
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, do you put the same amount of time preparing how you do? I was just wondering if there's a parallel between the preparation you do for running the game development side of things. Does it parallel over to your preparation in your arts? It seems like you have a lot of skill planning.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for the pieces that I made for my Terra Virtua collection, Celestial Blooms. Actually, put some of the principles of what I do for game dev. I make inspiration boards, I find references, I test color palettes. So a lot of the game dev work translates into my personal work.
So just jumping right back into it, do you want to actually go through each one of your pieces and give us kind of a play-by-play of how you came up with the concept and the vision, and then the execution part? Just because right now it looks like all of your art is already sold on the marketplace. So congrats on that. But yeah, I still
Thank
would
you.
love to talk about like how you came up with these concepts.
Yeah, so I'm really inspired by a lot of fantasy elements, and lately, like I've been getting like more into plants. I actually like tried gardening, but it's not really it's not really working for me. So I'm just like putting it in my art. So so for this particular set, I kind of wanted to like um kind of merge that love for nature and plants and I guess kind of like witchy stuff. The
Oh,
moon, the sun. I have a lot of interests, so I kind of like try to mix them together. And I like drawing women.
yeah.
So that's essentially like the whole story behind this set.
So
I
there's
Yeah, so I just wanted to draw really pretty women in with natural background.
Yeah, no, and the color balance honestly is like phenomenal. I'm actually a little sad because when I saw these, I went to actually like I definitely wanted one of these, the one that kind of reminds me of Ariel a little bit. And then I saw that they were sold out. So I hope that you are planning on some more releases soon. Like I really love this style. I think it's pretty wonderful. And I didn't mean to skip over your presentation. I just sort of like was like, fumbling around to try and organize a few other things to make sure the stream was good. So I wouldn't mind jumping back over here to kind of get your full story.
Problem. So do we go by
Yeah.
slide per
Sorry,
slide?
I'm your driver, so you just tell me when to go to the next slide, and I'll do my best.
Okay. Well, so when I got into crypto art, I actually think this is missing some of the stuff that I added.
Oh no.
And I
We
Oh,
can.
sorry, they're in the bottom. Sorry. You
Okay.
can start at the slide step 7.
7. Got it.
Yeah, actually, like I wanted to show like some of my game dev work. This is one of the games that I worked on. This was for TikTok, and yeah, this is one of my favorite projects I ever worked on. I designed a lot of the characters,
Wow.
and so yeah, this is one of the ones I'm like super proud of, and I think it's like it got really popular. I don't really know the numbers now,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is definitely one of the games that I'm like what I show off to
It's.
people.
It seems like you draw. You're like a lot of times you do characters. Is that like a common theme for you?
Yep. That's like really what I love drawing. I love drawing people, I love drawing characters and different styles. So I kind of wanted to show this because I wanted to show like the range of art styles that I play around with.
Hmm.
It's like I love cartoons. My background is in comics originally, and then I went into game dev, and then I can apply I could apply some of those the comic work in our game dev. And yeah, these are I actually did some web comics back then. The name Drawer I Play is actually the name of the web comic that I made. So it was supposed to be like an autobio comic.
Hmm.
um it was just something I kind of did to like be able to express myself online. I didn't want to like get super serious about it, but then it kind of blew up. Like
Oh.
it was it went viral for a while, and I had like maybe 30,000 followers on Facebook, and that was an experience.
How long ago was the
'Cause
comics? Like, cause this is really cool.
this is maybe 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
I'm not really sure. Um,
Is that a
but yeah,
is that a representation of you by chance? And
yeah.
oh, that's so
That was
cool.
back when I was like all about like having red hair, So this was my avatar essentially, and yeah, so this comic went viral um, on Facebook mostly, and then on Twitter. The comic that I have on the slide is actually one of the comics that went viral on Twitter, and then I got my first experience of getting mobbed on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah, it was not great. It was not a fun experience. But I learned my lesson to kind of just not, I guess, not piss people off. Although I wasn't trying to piss people off.
I know what you're saying. Like, I actually refrain from posting. I think I delete half of everything I plan on posting on Twitter. I'm like, yep, I thought through this one. So I know how you are. I know the feeling for sure. So don't feel alone.
Well, the story behind it was that like, so people found this comic, and then people started editing the comic, and it was like they were trying to change the words, and like people were not happy that I said that. I don't know, they weren't happy that I said that artists should get paid, and so they started.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I'm confused now. Artists shouldn't get paid for their efforts and their hard work, and like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Anyways,
I know. So they started like changing the words to my comics, and then reposting them, and then sending them back to me, and then it was kind of not nice. So I kind of, told them off, and after that I got all the hate, and then people started sending me like new drawings of my character, which was based on me, right? So that was kind of like really insulting,
right?
And yeah, so that kind of traumatized me a little, actually. And
okay, yeah, wow.
So I haven't really been making comics since. I still love it. It's just sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
almost, fine. Talking Tagalog there.
So where's your attention now? Like, what are you mostly focused on?
Mostly on illustration and painting, because I do love it. And so yeah, so this is my earlier pieces that I minted back in July. I was kind of just playing with the styles. I was still kind of trying to figure out how to paint, if that makes sense. It's like, because I was so used to game dev, to my workflow in game dev, I kind of had to figure out a workflow for my personal work, because it's similar but not exactly the same.
Yeah, can you actually elaborate on your workflow as far as your art is concerned? I'm really curious.
So sometimes, like, well, actually most of the time when it's personal art, I just kind of try to like sketch it out, and then let the piece kind of evolve. I do a little bit of planning at the start, and then I kind of just let it grow from there, from the sketch. And then sometimes I'd like change things like halfway, like I plan on using a certain color, and then later on just hate it and completely redo it. And I think you can see this from I sometimes post like my process videos on Twitter, and you can see that things tend to change a lot during my process.
Oh wait, are these in the same? Like, this is an evolution of the same piece, is it?
Oh no, this one.
I was about to say, like, that's a huge adjustment. Like, you went from like one theme entirely to like, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of revisions.
No, these works, I didn't get to record the process, because this was like very early on, when I was still trying to figure out, what I wanted to do. So yeah, so these were my early works. And then if you go back to like,
what number?
The kitty cat, the kitty bass collab.
Oh man, is there a number?
The first one.
Okay, cool.
No, yeah. Yeah, so this one was like my first, I feel like my first big crypto art project. when Kitty Bass approached me and asked if I wanted to collaborate with her. I was like, yes. I got so excited about it because like I didn't really know a lot of people in the scene, and to be asked by one of these artists who's like already kind of famous in it, I really just jumped on the opportunity, and I really love her work. And when I got this, I was like super excited to work on it. I think I maybe finished it within a weekend.
Wow.
So the story behind this particular one is I kind of really wanted to like get a Yakuza reference in there. Like I said, I'm a huge nerd. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm obviously a gamer. And one of my favorite games is Yakuza. And there was a side quest there called the Yakuza's Wife. And that was kind of what where I got my inspiration for this collaboration. And I really wanted to draw all the nice tattoos, the little details, the hairpiece, and then added some of the cloud elements in the background. So I didn't want to like completely change her base model. So I tried to
that
make
was what
sure
I was
that
going to ask. Actually, is like, sorry, I didn't interrupt. There's a delay in the back and forth, but I was going to ask what part of the collaboration, because a lot of times we hear collaboration, but you don't get the explanation of who did what. So I think you were doing that just there. So I'm actually really happy.
So basically, Kitty Bass provided the model, the base doll is what we call them, and I drew the elements around it, and the tattoos, the clothing. So I basically kind of like played dress up with her doll.
That's awesome. That's actually really cool to know like the handoff and know where you came in. That makes it that much more special.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what number? What number next?
One of my favorite ones.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, so yeah, so these are my collabs with Pranksy. Pranksy became one of my biggest collectors of my early work. And then when he had, I think the first one was for I think it was a collab call. He was really looking for artists who wanted to draw his avatar, and so we were kind of free to like interpret his avatar in any which way that we wanted. And whenever I see black and red, I immediately think of Persona. So that's kind of like what my approach was to that piece. And the Christmas pinup is for his advent calendar, which for last Christmas last year.
Yeah, I think I own one. I'm pretty excited.
So I don't really have much to say about the Christmas piece. I wanted to draw a pretty girl.
Would you say collaborations have helped your growth in the crypto art space, or do you think it's just been time in this space?
Sorry?
So as far as like collaborations go, do you feel like they've sort of helped you grow in the space quicker, or do you think it's just time in the space what sort of allows an artist to, I guess, become successful?
I think collaborations definitely help, but I think it's really mostly time as well.
Yeah.
Collaborations definitely help with like getting more people, more eyes on your work. I know that I gained a lot of followers when I made the collab with Kitty Bass, and as well as the Pranksy collabs. So yeah, I think a mix of both. It's time and just being in the scene and communicating with the community. So
I guess that's a recommendation you would give to an artist who's trying to like make their name known is be open to collaborations, right? I'm just okay, cool. I'm learning too, so that's why I ask. Oh, sorry. So this is what you have on our platform right now, right? Which I think easy in crypto is like asking for more. I'm on the side as well. Please give us more of these. Like, these are fantastic. I mean, obviously we don't want to like twist your arm in the creative process, but we definitely love what you're doing. Me and Easy especially.
Thank you.
And I do
Thank
want
you
to
so
express
much.
again, for those who weren't on listening earlier, I'm still very sad that I couldn't purchase one. They are all sold out. So we do need to beg Caroline to give us more soon. So if collectively, if the community could have that mantra, we'll be good.
I am planning on new releases. Don't worry. It's just I take a little bit more time in this because my work is also full time. It's full time work.
Yeah.
So I only really get to do crypto art during the weekends or weeknights when I still have energy. So yeah, I try my best to like get faster, but
no, well, no rush at all. You just have hungry, you have hungry collectors, but also no rush, no stress. You want to? So Graffiti Queens, when was this in your crypto timeline, or was it?
This was very, very recent. I made this for the Graffiti Queens show, which I think is happening tomorrow. I'm actually not sure because a lot of things are happening this week. So I think it's in the Centraland.
Okay.
Happening in the Centraland. So
cool.
I'm not super sure on the details.
You'll just be there. Someone will tell you when to be there. You'll be there. That's kind of like me. Yaka tells me when to be where. So I hope you have a Yaka as well.
I just have a lot of stuff to juggle. So I'm like really in Tagalog we call it sabog.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Basically it's just our mind is everywhere. It's like kind of like your brain is exploding from so many things happening.
I think I am diagnosed with that for sure. Like if that's a diagnosis, I feel like I would have that diagnosis. Brain exploding everywhere all the time with all the things. That's me. I can yeah, for sure.
That's essentially what being in the crypto space is, right? It's like everything is happening so quickly and so fast.
Why is everything so exciting? It's way too exciting, way too fast. I feel like I'm gonna miss everything if I blink. And I can't, so.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like miss a lot. So I kind of have to ask like people like, what's happening? What did I miss anything?
Yeah. So on our platform, you have Caroline. Look, so if to search you, so under our platform, you're Caroline D, but you also have Draw Right Play. Like, what's the difference between these?
No difference really. It's like it's what I use everywhere. I just didn't want to change it. Like after I had considered changing it, but I couldn't like figure out like a better name.
Oh no, I love it.
So I kind of just stuck with it.
No, it's
because
fun.
This is the title that I used for my comic, right? So at the time there was at one point that I kind of didn't want to draw comics anymore, and I kind of wanted to get rid of the name, and then I just I kind of gave up because like I couldn't figure out a better username, and so I just stuck with it. And so if you try to look for me on social media, it's always Draw Right Play.
Okay.
I'm mostly on Twitter. I sometimes go on Instagram. I don't really update it that often. I also have a Facebook page that I don't update very often. So mostly I use Draw Right Play, and I think if you on most sites you can search either Draw Right Play or Caroline D, and I'll pop up.
Can I ask, like, have you ever considered producing your comics in a form of NFTs, like pages in a comic, but basically letting collectors have a piece of that story as well?
I have.
Cool.
That's actually like one of the things that I'm trying to cook up. I can't like say anything about it yet because it's still very very raw.
Uh-oh.
In
Granum.
my...
Granum's like, give the leaks. Give the leaks. No, it's fine. We won't pry on that. But I can tell the trajectory is obvious, because we see photography coming into the NFT space, comic book pages, or just the comics themselves. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And so, like, I'm excited to actually see this come to fruition, whatever you're planning. I'm excited.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's just
Wow, this is really jumbled up, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So yeah, you're a game developer, cartoonist. We should have started with this one. That would have helped so much. Oh man. So you're kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, all the cool trades at least.
It.
Like I love the fact that you're a game developer because that hits home with me. A cartoonist is something I always wish I could do, and a digital artist is like all of those combined. Like, so you're literally like a cooler version of me, basically.
I just have a lot of interest, and I just really, I love art. Like, I wish I could do like more animations and like film. I wish I could explore more 3D, but like there's just very limited time. Really, I can't really do all the things. So yeah, I just stick to the ones that I know and the ones that I enjoy the most. From time to time, you might see me try to do something else, but for the most part, yeah, it's mostly illustration and cartoons.
If you had all the free time in the world and never had to really think about money per se, like what would you be creating right now?
Definitely.
I'm sorry, George told me to stop asking the hard-hitting questions, so this is my last one.
I guess I would love to tell stories. I mean, I think the one thing that I keep going back to is comics, because I just really love stories, and that's the kind of games I also play, and the kind of games that I want to make. Games that have a lot of narrative, have a lot of
like lore,
really good characters and lore. Yeah. So I don't really fancy myself a writer. I don't think that's part of my name. Draw, write, play, but I don't really write that much aside from comic books. Aside from cartoons. I do blog from time to time, like once in a blue moon. But I that's a skill that I haven't really honed, but I know that's something I would like to do tell more stories.
It seems like there's some writing here, so I feel like you are a bit of a writer.
I try. But yeah, with webcomics, I find that like the more words that you put on a webcomic, the more people can misinterpret what you're trying to say. And so it's kind of
tricky,
hard to balance. Yeah,
I get it. That actually makes a lot of sense and also you have the universe, like are some words universally accepted the same way? That's actually a really I could see it being a very difficult thing to balance. So having full images, letting people interpret them with just images and emotion in the characters may be a good route. But then I don't know. Like, honestly, that's a great question. I think I don't know the best approach, but I'll buy whatever you come up with.
Thank you.
This is cool. I love it, honestly. I want to open up the community for some questions now, and then we'll sort of just leave some for Russ. we'll sort of just flip back and forth as they're asking questions, and I can ask a few more hard-hitting questions, maybe, if George doesn't notice. I do have to say, this is phenomenal. I love this one so much. All right, as those are populating, I'm just going to peruse through the arts that we haven't looked at. I wonder if these are on the secondary marketplace yet, because maybe I can scoop one up. How long did one of these take you? I don't feel like we, like, from start to finish, from concept to minting, like, what is the time for one of these?
I kind of like I was working on these on and off for a couple of weeks, I think. So I'm not entirely sure how long each one took. Definitely like each succeeding one, because I started like with the moon, the one that you wanted to get one of.
I want one of any of them, honestly, but
so yeah, so I started with this piece, and it kind of got easier from for the next pieces, because I already had like the look that I wanted. So that's a nice thing about working on a collection that had like a unified look, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of already had, okay, this is what I wanted the rest to look like.
Right.
So the last two ones definitely went faster. Although I think I did have I think I spent a bit more time on the sun, mostly because sunflowers are
let me find that one.
are harder to render.
There's just so many more details. You need to choose easier flowers. That's our problem. You're choosing complex flowers. That's why we have to wait so long for your art. Do you start with the background?
I think I cloned some of them. The background is something like I think like I kind of cheated with the background a little bit, because like I just added some effects to a texture, which is something that we really commonly do. we can't like paint all the details, right? All the time. So that's something that's a texture that I got.
It's like a marble. It's very cool.
And I kind of just played around with the effects, and it's basically the same texture for all three pieces, because I really wanted them to have like some sort of unity.
There is one thing I want to point out that I really, really appreciate, is that you didn't use any like stark black lines. You outlined your things and the colors that actually from the piece itself. So it's almost that much more cohesive, because you used these like the lines on her shoulders, and you could have went with black, but that wouldn't have like made the image seem so like connected. Or it just honestly, every part of this feels like it's serving a purpose in some way, either like covering, like it just is really, really well thought out, and the execution here is like phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of what you've done here, and that's just, I'm being honest. Like this is really good stuff.
Thank you. I try to avoid as much as possible using like very stark black, especially with these paintings, because that kind of works if you're trying to do more comics, right? I mean, like more comic style. So there's definitely, it's not that it's bad to use black. It's just for these pieces, it didn't fit. So mostly I tried to pick like the colors of the lines from the piece itself.
That's awesome.
And kind of like just adjust.
I'm gonna actually, like, if I ever get into graphic design again, I'm gonna steal that tip. It's so good. It really is. Like I love it. Like honestly, I didn't ever think of it, but here again, like you used the outline is just part of the color palette from what you've chosen here, and it's super cool. Daylilies?
Sorry?
Are these lilies? I guess they are.
Yeah, I think it's called Stargazer lily.
Okay, those look easier than the sunflower. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. Like they all look complex in their own right. So I'm just joking for sure. But this one's cool. It's almost like she's thinking about something. I don't know if you're trying to convey that sort of emotion, but whatever she's thinking about, like it's like she's peaceful but yet focused. If that makes any sense. Like she's
I
peacefully
guess
focused.
you can interpret it that way.
Oh
I
man,
try not to mess too much about like how people see the
yeah.
work.
Yeah, so we actually cover that a lot in these spotlights. Is like that some artists would rather explain exactly what they're trying to communicate to the world, um, and others leave it to interpretation, which I believe is what you're sort of doing. Just because there can be so much more meaning here. Like maybe I'm resonating something, or something's resonating for me here that's really special, and I guess you're not trying to interrupt that if there is more to it than what you had originally anticipated or imagined. Am I?
Mhm.
Is that a good guess?
Yeah, I mean, like, for these pieces, I just really like wanted to like make it really nice and pretty. So, uh,
You nailed
I,
that.
it's up to you to
Yeah,
interpret the pieces. But definitely there are some pieces, of course,
yeah.
like I have more. Like for example, the graffiti queens piece that was kind of very emotional for me because I made that uh, after the recent news when suddenly everybody was talking about NFTs. And then we got kind of mobbed again on Twitter. Like
Wow.
everybody was putting us on block lists for being in crypto art.
Wow.
So that was kind of like a, yeah, it was not a pleasant past week
Wow. I
for a
didn't
lot
even
of
know
crypto
about this. I feel
artists.
like I've been like missing the news on that. Or if it is it just kind of like internally between artists? Like I feel like the mainstream doesn't really pick up on a ton of like what's going on.
No, it was a big thing on Twitter. I think people are still talking about it now, but it kind of has died down. I don't know
Mm.
if people just got tired of it, tired of talking about it, or they moved on to something
It
else. But
yeah. It's
uh,
always surprising to me because the
yeah,
crypto community is so nice, warm, and welcoming that it's like I almost get like a knee jerk reaction when someone is like mean because I'm like, how can you be mean? That's like being mean at a kid's birthday party. Like, how are you going to be a mean
yeah,
person at a kid's birthday party? Like, that's not nice. Or I don't know. There's got to be a better way to explain that. But like to me, the crypto space is just a it's a nice place to escape to where you get to connect with
hmm
like the artists that you like, really, that their work resonates with you. I don't know, like it's just such a
hmm
fantastic place, and like it's almost like I get a personal offense to like things like this happening just because like I care so much about the space and the artists and the collectors, and just because like this is kind of like
hmm
my safe haven.
hmm
So that's a bummer that sort of thing is going on, because like if I feel like if they stuck around long enough to really hear the ethos and hear what we're
hmm
trying to do, and basically evening the playing field for every artist to actually have a stake in the game rather than them just
hmm
serving commissions or serving and I think working for a company is great, and especially if you love your like team members and stuff, but
hmm
sometimes there's just so much depth in some of these artists and yourself, like you know it's just I don't know, like there's got to be, I feel like what we're doing and what we're creating with this crypto art space is something very, very special, which just gives artists more options on their journey,
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
getting boxed in saying like you're going to do this for us, and then we're going to have a million revisions, and then eventually you're going to get burnt out
hmm
on the 100th revision, and then you're going to wonder why you're even still doing art because it's already been such a bummer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know that
Definitely, the
feeling.
space is like where you can just like do art that you love, and I know that the community has been through a lot the past 2 weeks, but it also kind of like gave me more of my voice back, if that makes sense, because like
Hmm.
I was so scared back then to like express myself on Twitter, and so I was really very quiet. I don't really participate too much, and then the community got together, and that kind of inspired me to be a little braver, and and just be in the community more, and it's such a nice loving community, And I know that it's not perfect. Of course, there will be some bad apples, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I feel like somehow I finally fit in because before crypto art, I wasn't really, I don't know, I can't say popular because I don't really want to be popular, but I didn't feel like I was part of any scene
Mm-hmm.
of not not our local art scene. Even with my comics, it even when it went viral and like a lot of people were reading it online, most of my readers were actually, I think, from the US, and a lot of my jokes doesn't really translate. And I don't know, in the local scene, nobody nobody really knew me. So uh yeah, so I didn't, I don't know if I exist in the local scene. But suddenly in crypto art, I feel like I'm part of something now.
Yeah.
So it feels great.
That's actually like fascinating you say that because I try to convince my wife that people on the internet think I'm cool, but she does not believe me like whatsoever. She's like, "Yeah, okay, you keep telling yourself that." I'm like, "I promise you, like they kind of like me, I think." And she's like, "All right, whatever." And I don't have like art sales to prove it. Like I'm just like, "I promise you we have people who show up to the spotlight and then she's like, "Oh, it's all about the artist though." I'm like, "You're right. I'm just a catalyst. I am just a catalyst for the artist." Like, they don't think I'm cool anyway, but I know what you're saying. Like Utter. Oh, Utter did have a question. Sorry, I'm glad he messaged. Do you use real world people for your inspirations in your portraits or anything like that, or do they just come from your mind?
I definitely use a lot of photo references if that's what you mean. Unless I'm designing like a particular character, I don't really like look for specific real world people. Um, but I do use a lot of photo reference.
Mm. No, sorry, that was just like setting in for me. That's really. Oh, grab the wrong mouse. Sorry, I have two computers in front of me, so I sometimes fumble like grabbing the wrong one. Okay, any more community questions? Like, I think let me just scroll up real fast. I don't. I hate to think that we missed anything. Uh, already joined. Silly. Oh, here we got Christian Silly One. Okay, I'm gonna try to read Fud Zero. I'm gonna try to read yours. If NFT digitization of artwork existed during Picasso's time and none of his paintings were destroyed, will his most expensive art still be worth as much since there will be more paintings / liquidity in the market? Oh man, like what are you doing? That was so tricky. I think Fud Zero always does like a really like deep kind of like, I don't even know what to even title this kind of question. I want to try and answer it and say like that I think his artwork would have been equally valued, if not more, especially since the liquidity would be much higher due to the amount of access that people would have to these paintings. So instead of the upper 1% of individuals who have the money to, have the leisure of collecting, it would be like the whole world. And you would actually see people pooling their funds to own a piece of this like history, let's call it. So my answer would be that you may have actually discovered more people than just, let me go back. What was his name? Picasso. So maybe Picasso would have had more competitors if everyone had a fair shot at this space. And I mean, don't anyone who's an art history buff, don't jump on me because I'm not a master's and I don't have a master's in art history, so don't let me speak too much on that subject. But as far as like in the realm of what we see